Yes.
So, how do you pass the movement down from generation to generation, and how do you sustain it?
Well, parents have to teach their children. That's the easy answer. How do we sustain it? It's like a plane. You have to reach a certain velocity or it doesn't fly. The biggest problem we find with the kids of devotees, the young people, is that when you're a certain age, like what the young people are focused on is success. You want to be cool, you want to be hip, you want to be successful, you want to be respected. That becomes like a major obsession. And so, and I've had many of the most senior Prabhupada disciples in America tell this to me. I've had some of the most important leaders in North America tell me, if we would have had Krishna West back then, I would have saved my son. My son would still be in the Hare Krishna movement. So, I mean, of course, some children of devotees are just such great souls that they just sort of don't, it doesn't affect them. But for many devotee children, they get to a certain age, teenagers, when, they're extremely self-conscious, they really want to be cool and respected and everything, and they become very embarrassed about belonging to a movement that so many people think is a little weird. And they don't, and it's like poison for them to be seen as weird or strange or not respectable, and they don't want to be seen with us. It's not everyone, but there's quite a significant number of devotee kids that have gone through that. And so here's another point about Krishna West, I think we'll save a lot more of our kids. Because if we have a Hare Krishna movement that is cool, that is growing, that's powerful, that's more and more respectable, they'll actually volunteer, like, can I be part of this? So, I think, again, it's sort of like, I think Krishna West, I'm not saying this because Krishna did it through me as the instrument, but I really think it will solve a lot of problems. Because otherwise we have so many great devotees. We have the best philosophy, the best food. We have, wonderful, the holy name of Krishna is the most beautiful sound in the universe. So, I mean, everything is perfect except that we've lost our steam, we've lost our momentum. It's like a plane. A plane starts to slow down. You get to a certain velocity where you're in danger. You may not stay aloft. And so in the same way, the movement, the way I put it is, we call this a movement, but to call us a movement, is that a sociological reality or a linguistic habit? Are we really moving? And of course, in order for us to move, I mean, we have to be moving our spiritual life, because something's at stake. When you realize that Prabhupada wanted you, everyone in this room, Prabhupada wanted you to be a guru. Prabhupada wanted everyone in this room to be a guru, to care about other people, to help other people become Krishna conscious. And when you realize that Prabhupada is urging you, begging you to become a teacher of Krishna consciousness, you have to, as I say, clean up your own act, because, well, I can't be a hypocrite. If we sort of take that, it's like a racket. It's like, I'm fallen, who am I? You sort of play the humility card, and then you can just walk free. I don't have to spread this movement. I don't have to preach. Just, play the humility card. But Prabhupada said that everyone should preach. And when you realize that Prabhupada is calling me to be a teacher, whatever level, he said, if you can preach to your family, do that. If you can preach to your neighborhood, if you can preach to your community, your city, whatever level you can do, just do that. But when you realize that because Prabhupada favored you and Krishna favored you and Krishna opened your eyes, therefore you have responsibility to other people. When you understand that, you become more serious about your own life. I guess maybe I shouldn't eat that. Maybe I shouldn't waste this time, or maybe I shouldn't do this or that, because after all, I don't want to be a hypocrite, and Prabhupada wants me to be a teacher. So it really energizes your own spiritual life. And it energizes the kids, and we become contenders. Yes?
I just wanted to understand our approach for book distribution.
Yes.
We are distributing books, we are giving Bhagavad Gitas to Western people, door to door, And of course, that philosophy in the book is way too high for certain people to understand. So, what's your take into it? How do we exactly do this?
I think our duty is to bring people to Prabhupada. Now, if that requires a bridge, because Prabhupada himself authorized bridge books. Even when Prabhupada was here, he personally authorized it. So, I believe that the top priority should be to give someone a book they can read and understand, or they're likely to be able to read and understand. And because the goal is to bring them to Prabhupada. There's no question about that. We know what the destination is. So if by building a little bridge we can get more people to Prabhupada's shelter, then we should do that.
So you're giving these books to someone who has not even heard about Krishna consciousness, and this philosophy in Bhagavad Gita, describes about the whole
process. That's a good point. And some people, there are some great souls that can read them and understand them, but all these things need to be looked at. We have to, in the early days of the movement, because we were so young and helpless, Prabhupada just said, just give my books out, just chant Hare Krishna, just don't think about it, just do it. Because back then, if we would have started thinking about it, God knows what would have come out of it. Because we were so young and immature, and just a little while before we had been whatever we were. But the point is, we're not babies anymore. Some of us. In fact, there's a word for it. There's a logical argument Prabhupada used to quote. It's called Nagna Matrika Nyaya, which literally means the logic of the naked little mother. And Nagna Matrika Nyaya. And the logic is, Prabhupada used to give this example, that when your mother was a little baby girl, she went around naked. Does that mean that now she can go naked? In other words, people change, people grow up, and you can't do as an adult what you did as a baby. So there are actually some people in ISKCON, they mean well, I think they're very sincere, but they basically said, no, we should, for the next 10,000 years, we should act as if we're just little children. We don't think, we just go out and do this. But actually what Prabhupada really needs, and what wanted and asked for, is that we now act like what we are. We're adults. Some of us have been in the movement almost half a century. And to say that now we should not think, we should not reason, we should not be innovative, we should act the same way we did when we were just little spiritual infants, I think is absurd. Because now we are not going to risk what Prabhupada feared. We're not going to become hippies again. He was really concerned about that. He says it all the time. Relapse into hippiedom, because hippies were just, whoa. So, no, we're not going to become hippies again. No, we're not going to philosophically deviate. No, we're not going to leave Prabhupada's ISKCON. No, we're not going to change the basic spiritual practice. We know that. We know the basics. Now, because we know the basics, we are fixed in the basics. We know Prabhupada. We have the freedom to do what we have to do to get the job done. And if someone says that this is not what we should do, I say to them, with all due respect, come and show us. And if you can do better at helping the Western world, I will follow your project. But as I say, lead, follow, or get out of the way. And this is what we have to do. Prabhupada needs us to do this. Prabhupada needs us to restore the relevance, the power, the growth of his Western mission, because Prabhupada's whole global strategy depends on it. The whole world's at stake. And so, if you got a better idea, show us, and I'll follow you. And tell the whole world I was wrong.